Hey, what is up guys, Zara Shaky and welcome back to another video. Now over the recent years I've been collecting a lot of fragrances and I do get asked many questions about fragrances, and one of the biggest questions that I get asked is which fragrance to choose. Now for many men this is a very gray area that they really don't know of, and today in this video, from what I've learned from my experience, I will try to explain to you and help you in your choosing of which fragrance you should buy. Now let's start off with a simple thing. Without complicating this a lot, not all fragrances are the same, obviously. Some fragrances are fresh, some fragrances are sweet, some are oriental, blah blah blah, etc. Okay? All fragrances are different and you may like some, you may not like some. It's all personal opinion. So as it's all personal opinion, what I will be telling you is my own personal opinion and opinion of some other people that I've talked to about the fragrance. So let's begin. Now the first thing you need to look into is how many fragrances do you currently own. Do you have one, you have two, you have three, I don't know. But normally if you're looking for this, is probably you don't have a perfume or you just have one perfume that you really don't use that much, or could be something like that. So if you're looking for your first perfume to buy, look into something that's very versatile. One good recommendation that I would give to you is going to be Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette. Now, Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette is a very versatile fragrance. Remember the Eau de Toilette. There are two versions, the Eau de Perfume and the Eau de Toilette. If you're looking for something very versatile and it's your first perfume, I'd definitely recommend the Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette. It's a fresh fragrance. It goes off. You can wear this with almost anything, and it works very good. If you're looking for something more mature, I would suggest looking into something like Giorgio Armani Acqua di Gio. Acqua di Gio is a much more mature fragrance than something like Dior Sauvage. It consists of bergamot, patchouli, incense, and it works really well when you're dressed up. So if you're looking for a much mature fragrance, look into something like Armani Acqua di Gio, as I said. And if still you don't like none of these, try something like Versace Dylan Blue. Dylan Blue, again, massive superstar. It works. It's a very versatile fragrance. A lot of people like it, mass appealing, and it is a little more affordable than something like Dior Sauvage or Acqua di Gio. So definitely look into that. And if you still can't afford any of these fragrances, something a little cheaper alternative would be something like Mont Blanc. It is not the cheapest, but Mont Blanc fragrances are really good for the price point. They are much cheaper than something like Dior Sauvage or Acqua di Gio. So if you don't have that much money to spend, look into something like Mont Blanc fragrances. They are very good, they are versatile, and they normally have very good reactions. If you are looking for your first perfume, look into something like that. And remember, versatility is key. Now, you already have a fragrance, then which fragrance should you really buy? Now normally you should have a fragrance for at least a day, one fragrance for the day, one fragrance for the night. That's how it works. You should normally have that. You could use one fragrance for everything, but I would recommend you at least have two fragrances, one for the day, one for the night. You could expand into more for something like summertime fragrances, wintertime fragrances, but we're not gonna go right there. We're just gonna go stick with the basics. Look for a daytime fragrance and a nighttime fragrance. Now during the daytime fragrance, you want your fragrance to be fresh and not as sweet. Maybe it would be better if it's a little light, especially if you live out here in the high heat like I do out here in Dubai. It gets very hot, and sometimes because of the heat the perfume may not last as long and the perfume may smell different or a little more sweeter according to the notes that are in it. So if you're living out here somewhere in the high heat, I suggest something a little lighter. Look into something like Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense. Remember the intense version. The intense version is much more better and it lasts a little longer as well. So look for Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense if you're living out somewhere in the high heat and if you want to use it for the day. Versace Dylan Blue is also a very good shout. Again, Versace Dylan is another very versatile fragrance and a very good gift if you want to give it to someone as well. And if you're looking for something a little more aqua based or aquatic based, look for Bulgari Aqua, another great fragrance. And yeah. Now looking into the nighttime fragrance. Now for the nighttime fragrance, I'd really recommend you go for something a little more sweeter and something with a little bit more seductive vibe to it, because if you're going out in the night, you're probably going on a date or something like a dinner or something out at the club, something like that, or you have an event. So look for something much more sweeter that suits the vibe. And one of my personal favorites is going to be Armani Code Profumo. Uh, Armani Code Profumo is one of my favorite fragrances. Um, I just love it. It has a little bit of a seductive, boozy vibe to it. I think yeah, this fragrance has notes of amber and tonka bean in it. The tonka bean, you can really notice it, and I really like the tonka bean in this fragrance. There are more fragrance with tonka bean, but I do like this, and the many people do like the Armani Code perfumes. So these are going to work with most of them, and girls do like this, mass appealing. So if I'm going on a date or something, I would wear this, and it works very well, especially during the nighttime. But if you're looking for something that is seductive but don't want to go into tonka bean or something, like looking into something fruity, looking into something like Versace Eros, Eros is another top seller, fantastic fragrance, and I do prefer the Armani Code over this, but this is another top seller, and a lot of girls like this. It's very mass appealing. It's fantastic fragrance, and you can wear this to a lot of places as well. Not as versatile as something like Dylan Blue or something, but this is another fantastic fragrance. And if you're looking for a seductive fragrance, try this one. Really good, Versace Eros. So that's what you're looking for in nighttime fragrance. You're looking for something seductive, something sweeter that's gonna suit the vibe. You can even go for private blends, stuff like Tom Ford and stuff. But if you're starting out, I'd recommend not to look into that right now, as those are as Tom Ford fragrances are bold, and sometimes people do not like Tom Ford fragrances. So there is either a hit or it's a miss. So if you're starting off, I wouldn't recommend going into Tom Ford fragrances. Alright, we've got those covered. Now, I've given you the recommendations, but you still can't figure out which perfume that you have to choose. So, how am I going to help you with that? I'm going to show you what I do to test my perfumes and look into the perfume and smell a perfume before I buy it. Now, what I do is go into a perfume store or a store of the brand. For example, if you want to look into Armani perfume, go into Armani brand, or go into Versace brand if you're looking for Versace perfume, and blah blah blah, stuff like that. You go into a perfume store or a brand store, then you ask to smell the perfume. You ask to smell the perfume, and then you smell it. If someone's with you, ask their opinion as well. Ask the salesman. Sometimes they do have good knowledge. Depends on the salesman, to be honest, but most of the time salesmen do have a good knowledge of perfumes, what kind of perfumes there are. So you could ask them, which perfume is this? I am looking for this. I work in the office, I travel a lot, I do this, I do that. It could be different, and I'm looking for a perfume that's gonna suit me. I go out here, there. You can ask them. They could give their opinions as well, and you could go ask opinions of different people. But before you buy a fragrance, if you want to test how long it lasts, the one trick that I use a lot is spraying the perfume on my arm over here. So you spray perfume near your elbow, on this side. So you spray it on your arm, and then you can check for how long it lasts, and it works very well. Now remember one thing, that the perfume lasts differently on skin, and a perfume lasts differently on a piece of clothing. And normally it lasts longer on a piece of clothing, so if you're spraying it on here, it's more likely to last longer on here than it's going to last longer on here. So remember one thing, it lasts longer on a piece of clothing. Spray different perfumes, one on the left hand, one on the right hand. Like you can spray one here, spray one here. If you still want to look into more perfumes, you can spray on the wrist, two sides of the wrist. Those work as well. I wouldn't go for any more than 4, or else I wouldn't go for more than 4 perfumes, or else your nose will be confused. So I think 4 perfumes are good for people to understand the different kinds of perfumes and what are going, and how long it lasts, and how good it smells later on in the time. Okay, so now I've given you my technique of what I do to choose my perfumes, and where should you buy your perfumes from? Another gray area. Now, normally, if you're looking to buy a great authentic perfume and you have the money to spend for it, definitely go into a brand store, or not even perfume store. Brand stores are probably going to be your best bet. But one thing that I have noticed in the brand stores is that they do mark up the price a little higher, because the things in the brand store, they don't always mark up the price to what it should be. They mark it up a little more as to pay for the rent and for the salaries and all that blah 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 business stuff. don't want to involve that. But basically brand stores do mark it a little bit higher. Sometimes they are sometimes they are the same, but I've seen that if you look into a specific perfume shop, like a big perfume brand or something like that, where they have all the different big perfumes, you can get away with a little cheaper buying a perfume for a little cheaper, because they have different brands of perfume, and sometimes they do sell it for a little cheaper. So I would definitely look into something like a perfume store, a good perfume store, reputed one, and buy from that. Discount stores in online places are shady. Discount stores, you could get it away. And if you're looking into buying from an online place, I'd really recommend that you buy from a trusted seller, because there's a huge market of fake perfumes and you could get scammed very easily. So again, I really recommend that you look into a trusted seller. Alright, let's go over through the information that I've given you once again. First, if you don't have a perfume and are looking for a perfume, the first thing that you want to check is the versatility, especially if you're going to have only one perfume in your collection, and at least for now, then you're going to have a perfume that has good versatility. If you're looking for a second perfume or something like that, look into which perfume you have and buy a perfume that you don't have. Okay, so if you have like a fresh perfume, try looking into something sweet or something oriental. But if you have something like a fragrance for an office or something like that, try looking for a fragrance that you can wear at the date or something like that. And the last thing is buying from authentic sellers and from people that you trust. Again, huge market for fakes, and you could get scammed easily. And one last thing that I need to tell you is, if a fragrance is marked high, for example, if a fragrance is $500 or something like that, it is not necessary that that fragrance is going to be better than a fragrance like $30 or something like that. It is, because fragrances are opinion based. Remember that it's not always going to be a $500 fragrance would be a better. Fragrances can be marked up crazy. They could be marked up $30, they could be marked up $500, $1,000, and people will buy it. That's one thing that you have to keep in mind. So buy a fragrance that people like and you like mostly, because if you don't like a fragrance, you're probably not going to wear it. So you need to wear a fragrance with confidence, and once you do it, it gives you confidence, and once someone compliments you, you really feel better. Trust me, it's from experience. Alright, so just don't go ahead and splash all your cash on the perfume that you have never smelled before. I wouldn't recommend that. If you're watching this video, you're definitely watching it online. So online, there are a lot of different perfume reviews and all that. You can go ahead and check on websites, on forums, on YouTube even, for different kinds of perfumes and how they smell, and all the different people's reaction. So yeah, you can go on there, check whatever you want. If you're looking at a specific perfume, search up that perfume, see how the reviews are, see how long it lasts, and that's going to help you a lot in the long run. Alright, so now I've given you the information that hopefully helps you in you choosing your first fragrance. And some other good shouts that I would like to give out to fragrances that if you're new to the fragrance, and if you're looking for a fragrance that's good, mass appealing, and works with a lot of people, and you don't know where to start, I'm gonna give you some of the names of the perfumes which you can buy. One of my favorites, Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette and Eau de Perfume. Both are good. Eau de Toilette is much more versatile, mass appealing, perfect. Bleu de Chanel Eau de Perfume. Bleu de Chanel has, I think, 3 different versions. The new one is the Perfume, but the Perfume I think it lasts just as long as the Eau de Perfume. So if the Perfume is expensive, I'd recommend going for the Eau de Perfume, because I think it is a little bit cheaper. You'll save a little bit of buck, and it smells the same. The performance is, I think, almost the same. So yeah. Looking into Armani fragrances, Armani Code Profumo and Giorgio Armani Acqua di Gio, but these two are very good fragrances. Also Armani Stronger With You, another fantastic fragrance, very mass appealing, but some people do like it, some people don't. Check this all as well. Versace fragrances work as well. Versace Eros, Versace Dylan Blue, Versace Pour Homme, fantastic fragrance. Versace fragrance are very good, affordable, and mass appealing. Paco Rabanne fragrances like 1 Million Lucky, Paco Rabanne Invictus Aqua, these fragrances work very well as well. And now for Dolce & Gabbana perfumes, they are very good as well. Look into Dolce & Gabbana, the one Eau de Perfume. Don't look into the Eau de Toilette. The Eau de Toilette is an older perfume and it doesn't last as long. Look into the Dolce & Gabbana Eau de Perfume and look into Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense. Remember the word intense. So those are the two Dolce & Gabbana perfumes that I'd recommend. And if you're looking for something much more cheaper, and look into something like Mont Blanc fragrances. Mont Blanc fragrances are really good bang for your buck. Mont Blanc Emblem, Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, Mont Blanc Individual, fantastic fragrance, definitely. All right, so now I've given you all my personal opinions, and hopefully I've helped you in your quest to buy a perfume. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace.
Assemble the masses, melt the plastic, compound, realign when the shit gets drastic, lift the veil when the system's unmasked. It's just another pyramid scheme, a government racket. Combined with the power of Charles Jurassic, gnashing T-Rex with covert tactics. Rise from the ashes to back the axe. Bring the madness.